So, Candace Owens, in her most recent interview with Piers Morgan, discussed about the funding that America has been giving Israel, right? And she does not like that. She does not love that, we're just dumping money over there. She has her reason for it. I'm going to get to the clip. But before I get to the clip, one of her main points were that Israel is funding the slaughter of Christians worldwide. Now, I don't know if that's true, but we're going to do a little bit of digging. Look at the files.
We should not be supporting Israel. Obviously, Thomas Massey has done a lot of work showing how it doesn't even make economic sense that we have so much debt and yet we're sending money over to support Israel. And the biggest issue, by the way, that I have with Israel in talking about them being above reproach is the fact that they are supplying the arms to murder Christians. Okay. In Armenia, the oldest Christian country in the world, and yet nobody talks about that. For whatever reason, it seems to be the circumstance that when Jewish people die in Israel, it's wall-to-wall coverage. But when Christians die all over the world, nobody talks about it. Everyone wants to correlate everything to World War II. Everyone wants to talk about Adolf Hitler, and rightfully so, he was a horrific person. But nobody wants to talk about Henryk Yagoda, right? Nobody wants to talk about the Bolsheviks. Nobody wants to talk about the Christian Holocaust. I am tired of the media, exhausted of the media not speaking about what is happening to Christians all around the world. And it is especially horrific, while at the exact same time that it is happening, the slaughter of Christians in Armenia, the arms being supplied by Israel, that the media turns the other way and says, oh, okay, but what about what's happening in Israel? So you know what I'm asking for? Actual equality. Okay, because it seems like this is like a special category, the special relationship that we have. I'm a Christian first, okay? And so my concerns are going to be with what's happening to Christians all around the world, because it is us. We are the #1 most persecuted religion in the world. And all Christians watching this need to realize the time is now to start speaking up, because we have been silenced about the things that are happening to us for a very long time. And the media is very clearly not our friend. When there is wall-to-wall coverage of Christians being killed in Armenia, Christians being killed in Nigeria, and the treatment of Christians in America and all across the globe today, then you ask me if I will use my platform and I will use my voice to speak about what's happening in Israel. How about that?
Okay. I think that's a perfectly reasonable point to make. The final question I'll ask you on this issue of the Daily Wire centres around the Christ is King, because it had long been a core slogan of people like Nick Fuentes and other, for want of a better phrase, white supremacists, white nationalists, whatever you want to call them. The Daily Wire co-founder Jeremy Boring said on X, how is saying Christ is King anti-Semitic? The same way anything becomes anti-Semitic when it's used for the purpose of expressing anti-Semitism. It's like asking, how does a shovel become a murder weapon when it's used to murder someone? This isn't hard. A shovel is not innately a murder weapon. Saying Christ is King is not innately anti-Semitic. It's all about how a thing is used. Saying Christ is King for an evil purpose, like using it as a weapon to express your hatred or disdain for the Jews, is a grave sin. God will not be mocked. Invoking him in vain self-promotion or to troll Jews or to attack your political rivals is to carry forth his name in vain. What would your response be to that?
My response would be that I am an unapologetic free market capitalist. I think Jeremy Boring, as the co-CEO of Daily Wire, went to the market with his idea on Christ is King, and the market has a right to respond. They believe in what he's saying, and they think that what he is saying is true and is right, then they will support the Daily Wire and they will support their mission. If they believe that it is wrong, then they will stop supporting the Daily Wire. I can't speak on behalf of Jeremy Boring. You'd have to book him, and he can talk more about his belief that Christ is King. It can be used like a shovel to murder people. You know, what I would say for me is I don't agree with that. And so if you find me saying Christ is King to be abhorrent, same thing. You don't have to support me. You don't have to follow me. But let me tell you, I'm going to continue to declare that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings.
Nick Fuentes, who is a Holocaust denier, supported you in what he said was your full-fledged war against the Jews. He said, this is the face of a total Jewish defeat. We effing got your back, Candace. They're filth. What would you say to that?
I would never, ever, ever describe Jewish people as a whole as filth. I don't know what the context of that is. Is he referring to the Rabbi Barclay interview? But just to be clear, on my record here, I have had wonderful relationships with Jewish people.
So, one of the key points of this discussion was the phrase Christ is King. Candace Owens defended her use of the phrase, denying any intent to provoke anti-Semitism. Now, she emphasized her Christian faith and the importance of declaring Christ is King, asserting that it is a fundamental aspect of her religious beliefs. She stood very strong on that. The conversation then turned to anti-Semitism in Israel. Candace argued that interpretations of racism, sexism, and anti-Semitism are subjective and can vary greatly based on personal perceptions. She criticized Israel's military actions in Gaza, calling for clarity on the definitions of genocide. Owens believes that Israel's military actions are not careful and that the death of innocent Palestinians, especially children, is unacceptable. Now, if y'all know about the history of this, right? It's very deep, right? Now, first, the relationship between Israel and Nigeria, right? Let's talk about it. Now, while there have been moments of tension and diplomatic issues, these two huge nations have also seen significant cooperation, particularly in areas like security, agriculture, and technology. Problems between them often arise due to broader geopolitical dynamics and specific incidents rather than sustained bilateral conflicts. It's a relationship that's complex, but marked by moments of collaboration and mutual benefit. And to be honest, I really don't understand it neither, but this is the way they operate over there. Now, let's shift our focus to the Ottoman Empire, right? The Ottoman Empire, which spanned from the late 13th century to the early 20th century, was a multi-ethnic and multi-religious state. Although it was primarily a Muslim empire with Sunni Islam as its official religion, it was known for its relatively tolerant and pluralistic approach to its diverse population. This included a significant number of Christians and Jews. Now, Jews in particular were considered zimmis, a protected status that granted them certain rights in exchange for paying a tax and accepting a subordinate position within the Islamic State. Now, I think this is what Candace Owens wanted to highlight and let people know the position that Jews did play in this organization, right? Interestingly, the Ottoman Empire was a refuge for the Jews, expelled from Spain in 1492. These Jews found greater tolerance and opportunities within the empire, contributing to its economy, culture, and intellectual life. So while the ruling class and official religion were Muslim, Jews still played an important role as a protected minority. Now, moving on to a topic that often generates confusion, the term Christian Holocaust. This is widely recognized, right? This is a historical event, but rather it can refer to various instances of Christian persecution throughout history. One of the most significant examples is the Armenian genocide from 1915 to 1923, where Armenian Christians were systematically exterminated by the Ottoman Empire's ruling committee of Union and Progress. The genocide was driven by nationalistic, political, and religious motives. We can also look into the persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire and other historical periods where state-sponsored or local authorities targeted Christians. For example, during the French Revolution, Reign of Terror, Christians and clergy faced intense persecution, right? So Candace wanted to highlight what the Christians have been going through, right? And Piers Morgan, he wanted to speak over that and do his thing. He's a very strong voice. But Candace, she held her own. Now, others may say she had flaws and a lot of the things that she was talking about when it came to the genocide and the definition of it, she kind of went off topic. But when she was speaking about what Jews may have done to Christians in the past, she was very factual and she stood on her square. Now, let me know what you think about that. Do you think that Candace Owens was really good in this debate? Do you think that she shouldn't even brought this point up? Is it really the context of saying Christ is king? Because saying Christ is king is not, anti-Semitic. But, a gentleman did say that it's about the context of how you say it. Now, when you guys hear Candace Owens say it, how do you feel? Do you feel like she is trying to harm Jews by saying this or hurt their feelings by saying this rather than just speaking her truth into how she feels about her religion, which is Christianity? Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, and we will be back with the files.
My guy Dub too. That's my man though.
Gang gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.